So if we're going to defeat this thing called temptation, we need to understand how it works. And the Bible actually tells us exactly how temptation works. If you didn't know before, you're about to learn exactly how temptation works in our life. James chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. But each person is tempted when they're dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. They're attracted to this thing. They see some advantage in it. They want it. And then after desire has conceived, that's where you go past thinking about it to planning, how can I do this and get away with it? It gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. The death that James is talking about here is spiritual death. Because sin leads us away from the one who is the author of life, the one who is the way, the truth, and the life. Sin leads us away from a pure devotion to that, which leads to death. And so James says that's where temptation can lead us if we don't deal with it. So I want to break this down. Okay, there's 4 little sections here. First, there's a desire. And I love the way James writes this because it's so graphic. We're tempted when we're dragged away. That's graphic. That brings an image to my mind. We're dragged away by our own evil desires. We're going through our life and we're minding our own business. I know you've been here with me. And something pops into our world. Whoa. We're like that dog in the movie Up. Remember? Squirrel! I wasn't looking for it. I didn't mean to think about this thing. But that thing, that opportunity, that temptation, that thought came into my mind and it drug my attention away from what I was thinking about, and now I'm fixated on this thing. And here, I'm gonna use my eating struggle here as a little illustration, okay? I walk into the kitchen and I'm looking for an apple, and I open the cupboard and there's a half-pound party bag of peanut M&Ms. Guys, I'm a recovering M&M crack addict, okay? I love those things. And all of a sudden, it's not just a bag of M&Ms, it's an unopened full bag, and there's a glow around it. Oh. And I instantly, I don't think about it, I just know in my heart, I need those M&Ms. I want those M&Ms. That's the desire. See, I was drug away from what I was doing, and all of a sudden I'm just locked into this thing. The next step is to be enticed. All of a sudden, the commercial comes into my mind. Oh, they melt in your mouth, not in your hand. And my mouth is watering, right? Right now, as I share with you today, my mouth is watering as I think about that. And I just think they're so good. They're so good. And so my brain, switches from a desire to entice. Now I'm thinking about them. And now it moves to the conception phase where really what we do there is we start to plan this thing. We start to rationalize. We start to turn it over and look at it from different angles and figure out how we can find a loophole. Maybe it is okay. The bag isn't even opened. And sometimes, I know we've all had this experience where we're trying to open that bag and it rips and peanut M&Ms go everywhere. You ever had that? It's horrible. So I want to be a helpful person. I want to be a servant. I don't want that to happen to anyone, so I know if I get a pair of scissors and I neatly just clip the corner off, that'll be helpful, right? And so I think that'd be a good thing. That'd be a good thing. I want to be a helpful person. I want to be Jesus-like here, and I'll just have one, right? I'll just have one M&M, and I'll just let it melt in my mouth, and I'll enjoy it. Has anybody ever tried to eat just one M&M? Okay, but in my mind, and this is what your brain does, your brain will play tricks on you guys. It convinces you that you could do just one and that it would be helpful. And there's no one around. So you could say the kids ate it or whatever, right? They deny it, but they lie all the time. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. And so you open the bag, and the next thing you know, you're sitting in the corner and half the bag's gone. How did that happen? That kind of thing happens all the time in our lives. That's a silly little illustration about candy. But man, we deal with that same process in all kinds of areas of our lives, don't we? We see that thing, we want it, we entice it, we mull it over in our brain, we begin to rationalize, maybe I could, maybe, what if I just do it once, maybe if I do it in a place where no one will see it and it's not really hurting anybody, and blah, 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 blah. And the next thing you know, there we are again. Huge. So we need to understand that's how it works.